ladies and gentlemen, panie I panowie, let me introduce once again the most important man of the Constitution Week in Chicago, not just the parade, the Grand Marshal of the May 3rd Constitution Day Parade in Chicago, Profesor Jim Mazurkiewicz. Professor, welcome again.
Dziękujemy za zaproszenie.
Dziękuję bardzo. Thank you for being here. You indeed are the most important and the busiest man this week. How are you handling stuff so
far?
Well,
I'm taking it one step at a time, one event at a time. I think the schedule is full for 5 days. We've got probably 13, 14, maybe now 15, I found out just a few minutes ago, different events and activities that we're planning to attend, everything. And I hope that I make you proud as your Marszałek for 2025.
You already are. You're one of the most memorable Grand Marshals of the parade. It's Thursday, so by end of the day on Sunday, it's going to be well in double digits, the number of events that you attended.
Exactly. I think I will sleep well on the plane on the way home.
Oh, for sure.
Sunday
That's a guarantee. So we spoke about you several months ago. So this time I asked Chat GPT to generate a list of questions.
Okay.
And let's see what they come up with. There's a lot of culinary questions for whatever reason.
Oh,
so
okay.
Pierogi or brisket?
Well, that's a tie.
Don't tell me it's a tie. You got to pick.
Well, you know, I love pierogi, and the way I like them is sautéed in butter with, caramelized onions and śmietana na czubku I bochekiem. You know, I love it. I love it. And I love the one with potato and cheese, the ruskami. I love those, and I like them grzyby. I like all of them, but I love my Texas brisket too. So but you know, ja jestem polski teksańczykiem. So
and that's the problem, you know. They know what they're doing. So which one you're picking?
Exactly.
Today,
today I'll say pierogi.
Pierogi. There you go.
Pierogi.
Okay.
If you fix it like I just said.
Next question: Polish folk dance or Texas two-step?
I love the polski oberek, and as a matter of fact, that was the dance we chose for my youngest daughter's wesele.
Oberek? Really?
Yes, it was a tatushu oberek. And we danced that together as the father-daughter dance at her wedding reception last December. And very proud of that. She and I hadn't danced together in 10 years, and it was like we had been dancing every weekend.
That is awesome. Wow, perfect. This one's going to be easy. So May 3rd parade or Texas Independence Day parade?
Oh, wow. Well, let me just say this. The May 3rd parade here is 10 times bigger than the Texas parade.
Oh, yeah?
It is. It is. We're very proud of our Texas independence. But I would say that's a tie as well.
Again?
You're going to try to get me in trouble with my Texans and my Polish roots. But, you know, let me just say this. I think because the Maja parade is so big, worldwide, it's one of the biggest parades in the world. I guess maybe I would have to say, you know, I'm very proud of that.
And we're always competing, like Chicagoans and New Yorkers. It's a bidding war every year.
Every year.
Which one's going to be bigger? There's also one big parade in Vilnius. Huge parade also, totally different. People
totally
just
different.
Walking, like no floats.
No floats like here.
But very pretty, very nice. Very
but
well
the colors and the costumes and everything, I'm sure it is absolutely,
Oh yeah. So next question, another culinary question. Polish sausage or Texas smoked sausage? Don't tell me it's another type.
No, I tell you what, we have 2 or 3 Polish, well, there's probably 3 or 4 in Texas, Polish sausage companies. I like my Polish sausage grilled on the grill.
Do you make your own sausage?
We haven't in years. We did when Dad was still living, up till about 3 years ago. And all his sausage, he never bought any. We always made it at home.
Always made it at home. Is there like a Mazurkiewicz secret recipe?
It's the original recipe that actually it's the you know there's 57 different kind of sausages in Poland today.
Yeah.
And but the original recipe in Warsaw, in the historical museum there, the documentation there, it's the same as ours, and it's wieprzowina, marianek, czosnek, sól, pieprz, and that's it.
Yeah,
it's just very simple, but that's 19th century, and you know, in the historical archives in Poland, if you go and look, that is the original Polish recipe. Now we've got variations. We've got many, many different kinds, and they're all Polish.
Yeah.
But that was the original one from 18th, 19th century because my family came, 150 years ago, and we make it just like the great-great-grandparents.
Yeah. And you brought all those traditions with
We
you,
brought
and
it with us.
them.
And today you can go in H-E-B, one of the largest grocers in Texas. They have 60% of the market share. They're only in half the state. And you'll see kielbasa sausage from Pana Maria. You'll see Chapel Hill sausage from the Brazos Valley, which is Polish sausage from our family. You've got Polish sausage in Bremont, Texas. I mean, you've got it. And so, kielbasa is synonymous with sausage.
Yes. It's hard to say no to kielbasa.
It's hard to say
kielbasa.
no. Exactly.
Yeah. Wearing a cowboy hat or wearing a Polish rogatywka? Well, we have the answer right away.
Well, again, you're trying to get me in trouble with
I know,
both my
right?
cultures,
I never said I'm going to ask you some questions.
I'm equally proud of both of them. But I was asked to wear my Texas hat and boots today. You can see I've got my boots on as well.
Full regalia.
And so that, jestem polski teksańczykiem. So, I'm Polish in heart, but I'm dressed as a Polish Texan today, so they know that I came from Texas.
Beautiful.
And but I'm very proud of both. I've got stroja Wowiczem, Wielka Polska, and Kujawski.
That's great. And today, as I said, the Texas hat and the boots. You have the sash.
Yes, sir.
And you have the Texas A&M pin.
I got the Texas A&M pin. Yes, sir.
So,
yes, sir.
Yeah.
And the Polish-American flags.
Absolutely. You're well representing all those. What do I have next? Oh, this is interesting. Warsaw skyline or wide open Texas plain?
Wide open Texas plain.
No question, right?
When you see that West Texas sunset, it's second to none. And I've exchanged over 1,300 people between Poland and Texas. And when my Polish friends come, they all admire the sunsets in Texas. Absolutely beautiful.
That's on my bucket list. That's one thing that I really want to see. Beautiful. Red and white Polish flag or maroon and white Aggie pride?
Ooh, that's a tough one. That's a tough one.
Both,
well, you
right?
say I have the Texas A&M ring. I've got the Texas A&M pin. I've also got the Polish flag.
That's got to be a tie.
It's got to be a tie. I'm very proud of my historical roots, and there's no question that I'm proud to be Polish. But I'm proud to be a fighting Texas A&M Aggie graduate as well, and a professor at the largest student body university in the United States, which is Texas A&M.
That's great. That's great. We're shifting gears a little. Judging cattle or judging swine, judging sheep?
I'm a national and international judge on beef cattle. I can do the swine, but that's not my specialty. I can do sheep, is easy to do as well. Texas is a leading sheep state producer in the U.S., but my biggest, strongest suit is beef cattle and beef cattle genetics.
Awesome.
I actually did some judging this year in Houston, the largest cattle show in the United States. And no, I pride myself in that.
The Polish people look with awe at those Texan cattle. These are huge beasts comparing to what we have in Poland.
But you know what? All of those breeds we have in Texas, actually, most of them came from Europe.
From Europe.
Yeah. I have Charolais cattle, and they're white, and they came from France.
Really? Wow.
We have Angus cattle that came from Scotland. Hereford cattle, the red and white face, came from England. And we have cattle that actually Limousin, we have them in Maine-Anjou, and they both came from France. The Simmental came from Switzerland. And then there's some German breeds as well. Gilvey is another one. Wow. So we've got 57 different breeds. There's a few from India as well. India, because they can take the heat and the wilgotność, the humidity. And so we've crossed them a 5/8, 3/8, 5/8 European, 3/8 Indian. We call those American breeds because we developed those crosses in Texas and in the South to be able to take the heat and the insects and some of the harsh weather that we have.
Yeah. Teaching a lecture in a lecture hall, or mentoring at the fairgrounds?
I love mentoring young people.
Yeah.
I don't mind giving a lecture, and I can give one on the spot if I get 15 minutes to prepare myself. But I love mentoring people. As I said earlier today in an interview, what's going to make a difference is the impact that we left behind. And your memory, your life, your impact will live in the people that you have touched and that you have helped and helped change and helped be successful.
And young Polish the Americans will pick your brain here in Chicago in just a few hours.
Yes,
One of the
this
meetings.
evening. Yes.
Yeah, this evening you have a meeting with Polish American youth. So
Yes, sir.
yeah, that shows.
Well,
that
thank you.
love working with
I'm
young
looking
people.
forward to it. I was teasing some of them last night in the consulate. I said, get your questions ready.
Exactly.
I said, you know, I'm looking forward to it.
Livestock genetics or soil science?
Livestock genetics.
Livestock
I'm a
genetics,
geneticist. I'm an animal breeder by training. My PhD was in genetics, looking at the difference between Bos taurus and Bos indicus, which is the two subspecies of bovine cattle and beef production.
Awesome. This is a cool one. Grading papers or grading heifers?
Grading heifers. It's a lot more fun. It's a lot more fun. And, you know, I've done as many as 1,000 head in one day. And, you know, and I'll end up talking to every person, telling them why, you know, that I selected this one over that one. I certainly enjoy doing that.
Yeah, awesome.
Grading papers is boring.
So this one's going to be probably similar. High-tech ag research or traditional farm wisdom?
Traditional farm wisdom.
Yeah.
You can never replace that.
everything,
Yeah,
right.
because, you know, the high tech will change. But, you know, the traditional wisdom will stay with us forever.
Yeah. I think nothing beats the deep knowledge that comes from somewhere when an
Well,
experienced farmer walks out every morning, looks at the sky.
Well, you know, I'll say this. We've been making life skill decisions ever since we were small kids on the farm. And, you know, with that came emotional intelligence as well as common sense. And I'm hoping I'm using some of those skills today that I learned back as a small kid when I had to make a decision back when there was no one there to tell me what to do, and I had to learn from experience.
Yeah. Are you farming right now?
Well, I'm not actually farming, I'm ranching. I've got a few registered Charolais cattle, the French breed, the white ones.
How many? You say a few.
I've got 20 right now. I have a small farm. I had up to 300.
Really?
But I retired a few years ago, so my son and I are doing it now. We're doing specialty genetics. What we're doing is propagating the top 1% of that breed with the cows that we have. So I am purchasing genetics, which is embryos and semen for the top 1% of bulls and cows in the U.S. And we're producing heifers for young people to show and to be competitive on the national market.
This is awesome. This is exciting.
Oh, it's a lot of fun. It's like Christmas every 9 months.
I know, right? So we're going back to these questions that will most likely end up in a tie. But let's try this one. Vigilia or Thanksgiving?
Vigilia.
Vigilia.
It's 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Vigilias at your place are super special.
Yes.
It's,
We actually have hay from Ostrovednicko, actually the island on the glacier lake where Mieszko I had his first zamek. That's where my family's from. All around this glacier lake, the Mazurkiewicz and Józwiak family, Twardowski, all of those families on my father's side are all from around Ledna Gora and that area right there. And so a few years ago, we have always hay on the table, na Vigilia. And so that hay comes from there and it's on the table every year.
And you have to tell us about this tradition of singing Christmas carols, singing kolendy at your place.
Well, we're very proud of that too. 15 years ago with some friends, Brian Marshall and some others from Texas. He's one of the best Polish fiddle players we have in Texas still to this day, playing the same songs as our great-great-grandparents. And I can play them on the accordion and sing them as well.
Yeah.
I can as well. But we do these kolendy, or the kolendowania. We started at 15 years ago with 8 people. Today we'll have almost 200. And we'll go from farm to farm in vehicles or in a school bus. And we'll have, this year we had special guests from Rapaka, and they sang with us. And we went from house to house, and we started at the church. We orientated everybody. We sang in the church of my great-great-grandparents that built Święta Stanisława Biskupem. And then we go to the first ranch, and then we go to the second farm and the next ranch. And then we end up at the downtown Chapel Hill where my great-great-grandfather Dorkowski had a store in downtown Chapel Hill. It's the oldest building in this city where we settled. And then we'll end up at the Polish Museum and the Public Museum, and then we'll end up with the Polish Mass. And we had this year our gości from Rabka, play all the beautiful hymns and songs. And then when we're done there, we usually go to the cemetery and pay respects to our ancestors.
This is amazing.
And we've been doing this for 15 years. And so this year, I initiated it in Pana Maria. And so we took this group, these gości that we had, went to Pana Maria. We had Mass. invited the descendants of the Leopold Machagemba group. And then I had one idea. I says, let's reenact. It's the 180 years since the first Mass under the original oak tree. Let's sing the kolendy pod spodem ten drzewa.
Wow.
Tak było 180 lat temu. And we had no lights, and świczki mieliśmy, and śpiewaliśmy po polsku, jeden po drugi piosenka, ale tak piękne było. Piękne. Te zdjęcia są, awesome.
This is awesome.
Tak, tak. It gives you goosebumps.
Oh yeah.
It gives you
even
goosebumps.
to talk about it, not
Yes,
to be
you
there.
should have been there. It was absolutely unbelievable, beautiful.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you for doing that. Wow.
And then this year, we initiated, I came up with an idea that we had Polish Youth Day, Texas Polish Youth Day. And where did this idea come from? I was thinking of new things for the Polskie Dziedzictwa Centrum in Pana Maria. I'm on that board of directors.
Yeah.
I says, why don't we do a Polish Youth Day? Jan Paul II did na świecie. We can do one in Texas. You know, we think we're świecie.
Big enough, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Texas.
So we did that. So I went to Bishop Yanta's brother, who we now have lost, but was in charge of his estate. We got enough monies from the bishop's estate to supply buses from all the Polish schools and parishes in Texas to bring them to Pana Maria this year on April the 12th. And we brought all these young people from the local area, and then, you know, from the Polish school at Houston, the Polish school in Dallas, the Polish school in Austin, and then the university students in Austin club and the club at Texas A&M that we started 11 years ago. We brought them all in one day. We had speakers. We had the Wawel dancers from Houston Dance. We had speeches. We toured the Dziedzictwa Centrum. We had mass. And then we had a dinner together, and everyone was taking back home. And we brought them in, and we had monies for the buses because Texas is a big place. And we brought them, and that was our first one. We'll probably have one every 2 or 3 years. And to continue this, to promote the Dziedzictwa Centrum, but more importantly, is to promote the education of the next generation.
Exactly. And this is super important, even for those kids to see the peers, see other young men and women who have the same roots.
And to make it cool.
Exactly.
And make it cool.
Make him even more proud.
Make you more proud. You know, I'm going to say this, our Hispanic culture in the United States have propagated their culture and traditions and their history. I'm so proud of the Hispanics. We need to follow that model and continue to lift that up, because some of our traditions and customs are both tied to the church.
Yep.
They're not that different.
Yes.
And so when we play some of this stary musica, a lot of the Hispanics think that's Nortino Conjunta music, and it's actually stary Polski musica.
Yeah, that's very interesting what you say, because we pretty much celebrate at the same time. We celebrate the same feasts, the same festivals.
Yes.
Let's celebrate together.
Let's celebrate together. You know, this jedna świat jest. Jedna ludzie jesteśmy na tym świecie.
Let me ask you about a couple of other feasts, like celebrating Dingus Day or celebrating 4th of July.
I would say Dingus Day is, we do a little bit of that. I've thrown water on my daughters. They don't like it with the makeup, you know, with the hair and things like this. But the thing is, I would say 4th of July on this one. It's a lot bigger. But Dingus is important, but I at least let them know what that means, you know, that they know about it.
Another question they came up with is choice between handcrafted pisanki or handcrafted leather boots.
Ooh, the pisanki are prettier. But this is still art as well.
Yeah. Polish polka or Willie Nelson tunes?
Polish polka.
Polish polka.
Yeah. And Johnny Cash played most of his songs were polkas. Stop and listen to it. They're in 2/4 time, so you would dance that as a polka. 90% of them were. Yes, exactly. And some of our older country music were either oberki or waltz, but most of them were oberki. And so, yeah.
Honestly, I didn't think about it that way.
Well, I'm a wannabe musician. You know, I had 10 years of music training.
You do?
You know,
I know that you play.
I do play, but I learned to play a clarinet when I was in, from the 5th grade all the way up to 12th grade.
Were you in the band?
And I was in the band. I was in UIL, and I won a lot of trophies and things like that.
Band?
I was in the marching band as well. And then later I wanted to play the concertina. Why? Because I came to Chicago. It's my first job here. And I seen these little kids, playing this concertina. I thought it was Polish, but it's actually a Chicago-made instrument. And so I did learn it. It's a very difficult instrument. But so that's what I play today. And I'll sing a lot of these stare piosenki.
This is great. Awesome. Family photos in traditional Polish dress or Western gear?
Some of both. When we have Maja in Houston, right now, this weekend it's going on. Normally I'm there, and polski stroje, po Wielka Polska, po moi przodkowie. And I'm wearing all my medals. I have 6 different medals from Poland, so I'll be wearing those very proudly. And with the Consul General and myself as president of Texas Polonia, otworzymy Chat Maja in Houston. Then we have Dożynki in September, which is still a big festival for us as well. And we'll do the same thing, and I'll wear that as well. I also have Dowiecie. And so I'll wear, appropriately that. Texan dress, when I'm judging cattle, I'll look like but I'll wear jeans and, a Texas shirt and marynarka, and teksańczyka and the kapelusze and buty and tak dalej. It depends on the occasion.
On the occasion, exactly, yeah. Coffee at sunrise or beer at sunset?
Coffee at sunrise, and if I have a drink, I'm going to drink vodka in the evening. I like a mixed drink better than beer, actually. Yeah.
How do you take your coffee? Black?
Black, czarne.
Really?
Yeah,
awesome.
Yeah. I used to drink it the other way, but I just drink it straight black now.
Nice. Early mornings on the ranch or late nights with the research?
On the ranch.
On the ranch.
Definitely. Yeah. That's my getaway. That's when I can go out there in peace and kind of unwind.
Yeah. Sweet tea or kompot?
Well, I'm going to say sweet tea. I like compost, but I like my southern tea. I guess I'm, born and bred in the South, in the South. So, sweet tea is a big deal.
Hey, this is a good one, honestly. Summer in Texas or Christmas in Poland?
Christmas in Poland, bar none.
Tell me about summer in Texas.
Summer in Texas can be 100 days over 100 degrees Fahrenheit. In our area, Texas, we have a really high wilgotność, a lot of humidity. So it can be pretty brutal during the day. Yeah. Thank God for the guy that invented air conditioning.
He should get a Nobel Prize
every year, exactly. But what's good about Texas, you can plan something through that time period, outside, anytime, and the chances of it raining is about 1%.
You know what? Very often we Chicagoans, we dream about that because here we have it's May.
Yes.
And we have crappy weather.
Yeah, exactly. So and you don't know how to plan inside or outside.
Not, yeah.
In Texas, we don't worry about it. We're just going to do it outside and it's going to happen and no problem because it's 1% only,
So if you can enjoy snow during Christmas in Poland, you're going there.
That's right. Right.
Nice. So
I want to go do kulik. I haven't done that yet in Poland.
But you have to bring your family over.
Well, my kids have done it already. I haven't gone. They've gone on their own. They go sometime without me.
Then do it.
Because I'm too busy and they go anyway.
Okay, tell me your favorite movie.
Dances with Wolves.
Oh, classic.
It's a Western classic. I love that. And one of the modern series today, is Yellowstone. I really love that. Yeah, and at the end, they were filming in Texas, the 4 Sixes. It's one of the 10 biggest ranches in Texas. And my son, James, actually goes there with the veterinarians. He's a veterinary assistant at the largest vet school in the world. And they do the work there on the 4 Sixes where Yellowstone was the last few episodes were filmed.
Do you watch the old Westerns?
I do. I love the old Westerns. My grandfathers loved watching that, especially my mother's dad on mother's side. He loved what he called the cowboy shows.
So how far back do you go with those?
Well, pretty far back.
Clint Eastwood or even farther?
Well, it's from the very beginning when they started making films, talking films. And I love all of them because you know what? You can see a little bit of history in there and see, because they were closer to it back then. And so we have those as documentary, how it actually really looked back then.
Yeah, awesome. So how should we call you? Professor or Marshal? Panie Profesorze czy Panie Marszałku?
I'm not sure. We might want to ask Lucia that because she's the president of the parade. Probably for the parade is probably Mr. Marshall. I am a professor, but Babcia always called me Jimuś.
Panie Marszałku, dziękuję bardzo. This was awesome. Professor, it's always a huge pleasure to welcome you here.
Yes.
Awesome. You did well. AI didn't have nothing
Did
on
I pass?
Flying colors.
70% maybe.
Grand Marshal of the May 3rd Parade was answering the AI-generated list of questions. Thank you, Professor.
Well, thank you. Thank you. That's awesome.